What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content, and welcome to the jungle! We got this cool team! I'm not going to do that anymore, but anyway, we got a shoutcast from here's Drewski with a strong team here. Steelix, Double Flyer in the Jungle Cup, goes on a 7-0 streak with this team, and then some, and I mean, it looks like a strong team, to be completely honest. And I like Mantine and Mandibuzz a lot in this meta. I think Mandibuzz especially is a very good neutral threat that has the moveset to be able to fight back against things that hard counter it, like Lantern, for example. So let's get into these battles and ignore that terrible singing job you heard from me in the beginning, and we're going to get into the first battle with an amazing lead against Skarmory. That's one of the best things about having the... and you just get the Mantine for the Whiscash. See, because there's very few grass types in this meta, people will just safe swap in a Whiscash. And the sad thing is, in my opinion, that the fact that Whiscash can just throw shields up and just go straight for Scalds and like this is disgusting behavior. I'm gonna be honest, and not because not anything against the trainer using the Whiscash. It's just that's just how disgustingly busted Scald is. Okay, like it has literally warped the meta around itself so hard because it's literally that move that you can just throw because why not? 50% chance it drops the opponent's attack, and it's a high power, low energy move. Like, look, it's 3 in a row, dude. 3 debuffs in a row. Anyway, instead of me complaining about how stupid Scald is right now, the Mantine is still a hard counter as you're able to basically maintain shield advantage in this matchup. There is nothing here that this Whiscash can really do. Oh, wow, they didn't get a debuff that time. Would you look at that? But it's 3 times debuffed Mantine, so it being as low as it is, and the opponent going for that final shield here, that actually tells me that because they're throwing energy right now, that this Mantine could probably farm down and get switch. Now, does that farm down do much with a 3 times dropped attack stat? No, but you absolutely need switch in this matchup, because if you get Steelix on the Skarmory, that probably means that they have something in the back that also beats the Steelix, because I mean, if you're going to play a Skarmory in the lead, you need 2 things that beat the Steelix. So, opponent stays in now. Perhaps maybe they don't, but this is why we're running Crunch in this meta, to be able to hit the Skarmory, and because Psychic Fangs really doesn't do anything here. But I mean, the opponent can throw as many charge moves as they like here. It's not going to do very much. I fully get. There's the Brave Bird. The opponent now comes in with the Quagsire, so this is not as good of a matchup for the Mandibuzz because it's got that flying typing, meaning the Stone Edges will do quite a lot of damage. But the opponent, because they're running Mud Shot, it will require them to throw 3 moves here to knock out. Now, a Dark Pulse will do close to half, and the fast moves are adding up from the Mandibuzz. Now, we are throwing, that was some good timing there. The opponent deciding to throw an alignment and giving the whole Snarl through for this Mandibuzz. It was very good, well timed there. So going for 1 and then the move, I think I would I don't know. Does the Dark Pulse knock out from here, or does it get close enough? I guess you could just go for double Aerial Ace. I also don't hugely mind throwing right away despite timing, because just to make sure they don't get to an Aqua Tail, because I think you could get to it potentially after 3 in some cases when Stone Edge is involved. I've played a little bit of Quagsire in this meta for a couple of days, and I do know that like you can get to the Aqua Tail after the first Stone Edge after like 3. It's just crazy. So Steelix gonna be bulky enough to withstand the second Brave Bird. There goes the Skarmory as the clock winds down, and that's gonna be a good first game. Getting into the next battle here, we got Steelix on the lead versus Altaria, just catching all the good leads today apparently. Looks like the opponent will probably swap out. They go into the Vigoroth. Now we're going to come in with the Mandibuzz. Now, little known, or maybe it is a well-known fact, I don't know. If Mandibuzz tanks a Rock Slide, Mandibuzz can just go straight Body Slam afterwards and win the 2 shield scenario, which is kind of nuts. Good timing here on Drewski's side here as he goes for the Dark Pulse on 3. As you're using a 3-turn move, you want to go on odds against even numbered move, like, or I would say 2-turn move, not even numbered. Because it doesn't work that way against the 4-turn moves. Going for the shield, gets the Rock Slide shielded, goes for 1 and then the move. Nicely done here as the Aerial Ace now comes out to threaten shields off of this Vigoroth. And the opponent is going to go for a shield, but the thing is because that first Dark Pulse hit, now these moves are threatening to knock out. The Aerial Ace is going to almost KO here. Opponent doesn't get a move. Now, I think that if the opponent put up another shield, I think they had a very solid chance at winning that mid-game. But now they get the Altaria stuck up against Steelix, which, I mean, that feels all kinds of bad as somebody who's played quite a bit of Altaria in this As you guys saw the video earlier this week with the Altaria line, that was just... Yeah, this is not fun. Oh, and then they got, oh, the Talonflame. Oh, dude, it's over. It's over. I'm sorry. There's nothing that this Talonflame can do at this point. As Drewski can get to cleanly, should be able to get to 2 Water Pulse. Except when they throw Brave Bird. That's something that we could do. Now, going for 4, I think I would have rather seen the Mantine go for 2 and then throw a move, just because it's cleaner timing here. But we're going to be able to get to the Water Pulse before the opponent's going to be able to knock out with these Incinerates, which would have been a very bad time. But going for that Brave Bird off the rip there, that was a very, very risky move by the opponent. Almost paid off. Getting into the next battle, Galvantula. Dude, if I could get leads like this, I wouldn't be having as bad of a time in this Go Battle League as I am right now. Let me tell you. Vigoroth safe swap. Drewski's going to answer as quickly as he can with the Mandibuzz here. Tanking the first move, even though it's that Rock Slide. If you've played this matchup out before, now the timing, unfortunately, not so good there. Throwing on 2 does allow Vigoroth to get a full counter through here, and they go for the shield. So now we're going for it again on 2 here. Again, that's going to give the opponent a full energy, a full move through. This is not as good, but now you should be able to just go straight Aerial Ace. If you can get to 2 Aerial Aces here, that would be ideal. And you definitely need to win switch advantage here, because you cannot allow Steelix to be up against that Galvantula. But the thing is, oh, and the opponent swaps in the Gal. They give up switch. That's mental. All right, so they might be weak in the back as well to the Steelix. Maybe they want to draw it out, get the Vigoroth in here, but honestly, that's wild to me. That is a play that I certainly did not see coming. The opponent could have definitely won switch advantage there with no problem, and that would have probably spelled disaster for Drewski there. Because of the 2 counters that snuck through as I was watching that matchup, the Vigoroth would have gotten to the Body Slam just as Drewski got to his second Aerial Ace. So timing in that matchup actually ends up working for you rather than against you, because if you're able to get that move, you're able to get to that second Aerial Ace, you're in a very good spot. Now, the opponent was indeed weak in the back to the Steelix, so drawing it out with that... They went to draw it out there, but because now the opponent's last Pokemon alive is the Guzzlord, that actually puts Mantine in a good spot here after getting that Psychic Fangs off, because the opponent cannot swap out to clear that debuff. And I would feel all kinds of bad if I just shielded that Aerial Ace, thinking that they had an Ice Beam, be honest, but it's okay because now we just have it. Throwing timing out the window a little bit, 2 is not so bad. If you want to throw... on good timing when you're playing against a 3-turn user as a 2-turn user like Mantine, you want to be throwing on 1, 4, or 7 for optimal timing, but situations like this, sometimes it doesn't really matter as much as long as you can just, come in and get the damage off, and then just you're prioritizing the end game damage rather than timing. Timing's going to be a lot more impactful in the mid game, as we saw with that Mandibuzz Vig matchup. Good game, though. Going into the next battle, Steelix against the Swampert. Now we get a Nightmare lead. Let's see how we handle it. Gonna safe swap probably into the Mandibuzz here. Staying in for a move, then going into the Mandibuzz. The opponent gets an energy lead, and they use it to their advantages. They're gonna be able to get to multiple Hydro Cannons now before Drewski's Mandibuzz is gonna be able to get to a Dark Pulse. Opponent immediately goes into the Altaria here, banking some of that energy on the Swampert, probably realizing that they needed a chip in order to really to be able to guarantee switch here, which is gonna be very important for them. Now, when you're against a 1-turn user, just going back to timing, when you're against a 1-turn user here, like Altaria, it doesn't matter what speed your fast move is, because they're always going to get a move through anyway. So it's actually perfectly okay here to just go for moves whenever you want, as long as, you just try and keep some count of with their energy. But unfortunately, Mandibuzz not going to be able to live that move there, and the opponent is able to retain switch advantage, which they would have done if they had put shields down, of course, because, Dragon Breaths would have gone through the rest of the Mandibuzz anyway. But anyway... Gonna try to get some energy here on Steelix as the opponent gets farmed down. A Crunch loaded on the Steelix already. Going for that Psychic Fangs. I don't know. I think I would have probably just gone for the Crunch damage and then dipped out to Mantine. But let me see how Drewski plays this out. Tries to go into the Mantine anyway. Now is forced to shield, unfortunately. Just going for that Crunch and then swapping out to get the guaranteed damage would have been much more beneficial, because then they could have saved the shield. But Mantine down a shield. Perhaps okay, so the opponent evens it up. And they go for a swap here. The opponent throws on alignment and catch the move on the Mantine. Is it a Hydro Cannon? Yeah, it's Hydro Cannon, but that's fine. We're walling the energy here, and the defense drops from those Psychic Fangs are making those moves hurt. The opponent just lets themselves get farmed down. because they're weak in the back to Mantine. There you go. At first, I was extremely confused, but then you see that they're weak in the back because they resigned the match. So, opponent comes in with the Whiscash. Drewski's going to drop in the Mantine here. We're going to play this out once again. The opponent's probably going to go for as many Scalds as their little heart desires, and then they're just going to get... There's the attack drops. They're probably going to shield. This is just... I hate this matchup. This matchup should not be anywhere near as close as it is. Also, I respect those of you who decided to run Blizzard on your Whiscashes. That was fun. I didn't get hit by any personally because I think I ducked out of Jungle Cup before people started running it, but I respect the Blizzard Whiscash because every time there's like one of these metas where Whiscash is like really popular, I always see these things and it's like, man, Blizzard would be smacking people right now. So love the fact that people are running the Blizzard Whiscash in this meta. And now Mantine's going to be able to outpace to the next move here as the opponent doesn't want to throw a Mud Bomb. And Aerial Ace is going to take it out. The opponent deciding not to shield. They're just going to go for the farm on the Altaria. Going to be able to get an Aerial Ace in here as well before the opponent is able to farm down for just a little bit of chip damage. Not that Steelix needs any help in this matchup, but it's, you know, it's nice. And the opponent comes in with a Talonflame. This is a much more difficult matchup here because of the fact that you don't have that water typing to resist the flame charges. And now it's going to be a call of whether or not... The flame charge hardly does anything to Mandibuzz now. So timing, right? Because apparently I've talked about everything else at this point as far as timing, so may as well talk about this one. Optimal timing here is going to be actually, if you can, on 3, as you can fit those into 2 Incinerates quite nicely. However, if you're in a bind like Drewski here, if he has to go for 3, he might have more energy than he wants to deal with. So in this case, going for 1 and then the move is also definitely okay. But this right here, the 3 into the 2 Incinerates, that's the perfect timing here. Unfortunately, that's also going to leave Steelix in a really awkward spot, but able to get the Dragon Tail as the opponent committed to an Incinerate. Psychic Fangs is going to be just enough to take out that whole, taking out that, oh my goodness, that was amazing. That was great. Because the opponent was committing to the farm down to the Mandibuzz, they went for that extra Incinerate. And so that meant that the Steelix, having a 3-turn move, could swap in, get the move off, and then go for the Psychic Fangs before the opponent could finish that Incinerate, which was really, I mean, that was a really nice play. So the opponent going for a last-ditch attempt at a move. Does Drewski's like, I don't need to shield this. Opponent goes down to the Dragon Tail. That's going to be a good game. Well played. Getting into the next game, another Altaria, dude. Where are these leads, man? Vigoroth comes in, gonna swap in the Mandibuzz here. I'm honestly waiting to see if any of these opponents try to take this matchup into the 2 shields, because I definitely know that, like, when you have a lead like that, sometimes it's better to just throw everything out the window and just go for a switch, even if you go down shields. But unfortunately, so Drewski going for 2 and then the move again. That does allow the Vigoroth that extra counter. I'm hoping that this doesn't turn into what I feared would happen last time. So hopefully, so he goes for 1 in the move. That's perfect. That's great. That's exactly what you want to do here. If you afford an opponent any extra energy, it gives them the opportunity to be able to take you out, you know, with just that 1 move sometimes. Sometimes that's all that ends up mattering. So going down to shield here, but being able to have some energy to hit back against the Altaria. Again, we know that Steelix doesn't need the help, but it is nice. But unfortunately, the opponent is down, or is up shields, and there is a Talonflame in the back, which is really good news for the Mantine. Is this some meta team? Again, you'll all have to forgive my ignorance here because I'm not really playing very much of this Jungle Cup whatsoever. Very nice timing there by Drewski, also getting those wing attacks into the middle of it. And the reason why I'm talking about timing so much is Drewski and I, we talk in DM sometimes, and getting the feedback on the mechanics part of things is usually nice. Now, in this case, you want to go for 2 wing attacks and then the move, because now essentially what happens, because you can fit 2 of those 2-turn moves for 4 turns into a 5-turn move. Now, unfortunately, what's happened is an entire wing attack is just on the table, not being used. Right here, we could have got to the Aerial Ace before the opponent gets to this last charge move if we had had that one more fast move. So now it's going to be up to Steelix, and Steelix is going to go for the Psychic Fangs here. And again, we could have fit 3 Dragon Tails in, and I'm also using this timing thing as just a way to kind of help people who aren't as great at it, that are watching, to improve. But I certainly don't mean to harp on it as though I'm like trying to give him any, any flack for it. I fully think that this trainer and this battler, the trainer and the team are both very, very, English is hard after I've been at work all day. They're competent. So going for 2 and then the move. I'm gonna Drewski is another one. I do coaching for Pokemon Go PvP on Medify. So this is another reason why I give the pointers on timing here, is because he and I have talked about doing some coaching. So and this is kind of an informal way of me giving him coaching. So as well, I just try to give him that feedback. So Dark Pulses doing plenty here. Going to be able to go for that Aerial Ace. Just an Aerial Ace after that Dark Pulse is enough to get this Vigoroth pretty low. So after having been afraid of this matchup myself, honestly, it's kind of nice to see how close it can really be, and how much Mandibuzz is favored in this matchup. Now, Drewski letting the Body Slam go, thinking he might live it, but he doesn't. And now the Mantine comes in to deal with the Vigoroth. Has the opponent even showed their third yet? Have they even showed their third yet? Their second? I don't even think they've swapped out, dude. Gonna catch the resisted Body Slam here on the Steelix. So now that the Vigoroth is pretty much out of the game, it's gonna come down to what's in the back. And so we're going to see if the opponent oh no, they got a Whiscash. That is bad news for this thing. So when you're having Psychic Fang and Steelix and Crunch, if you're going to grind out a matchup, definitely want to go for that Psychic Fangs. But if you want to go just for some raw damage, you probably want to go for Crunch here. Now, a Scald definitely knocks out our poor boy. Oh, and Tropius, if only we had the Ice Beam. Oh, man. I feel like Mantine probably wants Ice Beam. So when we want to go for 1 wing attack and then the move here. The opponent is getting a second move in here once they get... So now, I don't think this is going to be enough energy for them to get to 2 Leaf Blades. But it helps. So going for 2, 3, 4, 5. Almost should have thrown the move trainer. Oh, I've been so guilty of doing that same thing. Just throw the move trainer, right? I've done it too. Good game. You're just hoping that it works out. And the funny thing is, too, is if the timing had actually been on point, if we had, gone 1 and then the move instead of 2, I definitely think that Drewski gets that farm down. So, next game, we got Lantern into the Steelix. I mean, if you're going to see Lantern anywhere, I guess this is where you want to see it, right? So, I would almost say build up to the Earthquake just to get a shield out of him, but at that point, maybe they don't shield this just because, So opponent throws on alignment, whole Dragon Tail is going to go through. I mean, yeah, you have to shield here, for sure. While their fast moves aren't doing any damage, you definitely need to be going to do all you can to get this Lantern out of here, because there's nothing your backline is going to not want to see. There's nothing that it wants to see less than this stupid fish. Our opponent save swaps into the Vigoroth, and the Steelix had enough extra energy here. Going to be able to get a Psychic Fangs off. Really nice for this matchup, especially down to shield. Going to be able to go for a move here. Opponent throws on poor timing and gives an entire Snarl through for free. Or at least 2 turns of it, I don't know. Going for 1, then the Dark Pulse. Love this here. I almost wonder if the defense drop allows you to go for 2 Aerial Aces for the knockout. Doesn't matter, the opponent says I'm shielding this. And now, see, this is one of those situations where it's like, just go for the Dark Pulse to get the damage off. And that does quite a bit of damage, actually. Now, Mantine's going to come in here and get a little bit of a farm down, or Steelix, perhaps. But if the opponent reads that this team is weak to Lantern in the back, and if Drewski comes in with anything here, the opponent, if they're reading this team correctly, they may come in with their third. They just swap in the... Never mind. They just swap it in. That's fine, dude. You know what? The opponent did not read the team, I don't think. Unless what they have in the back is, another electric type or something. I don't... Oh, it's Abomasnow. This is an amazing matchup here for the Mantine. The opponent throwing on 5 means they just have Weather Ball. If they were throwing on 6, that means they have Icy Wind. That'd be a bit different of a situation. But the fact that Mantine gets these Aerial Aces, has Wing Attack, it has better move pressure into this Abomasnow than the Abomasnow has into the Mantine, because Mantine is just taking neutral from all these moves because the water subtyping allows it to take neutral. So we're going to be able to take out the opponent here, and that's going to be a good game. Man, oh. Had the opponent read that right and sent in the Abomasnow and then saved Lantern for the Mantine, that would have been, oh. That would have been really bad. So, staying in here to go for the Psychic Fangs. The opponent coming in with a Whimsicott. Really interesting core breaker in this meta, and they throw energy. I was about to say, I think that the best case scenario here is the opponent throws a move, and then we dip into the Mantine to start doing that super effective wing attack damage. And I reckon you could probably farm all the way down here. I don't think a Moonblast is going to do enough. Okay, it's going to do quite a bit. Never mind. I should think before I speak. Going for 4 and then the move to get to the Aerial Ace before the opponent's Whimsicott can get to the move. And then building up to a potential Ice Beam here. Like this a lot because that's going to possibly threaten a shield off the Altaria. And it does! That's massive! Do we build back up? Almost. Oh, I was going to say, if you build back up to the Ice Beam, that almost potentially gets a second shield. And that would have been silly. But getting switch advantage here. Almost gets to the Aerial Ace, but goes down with the move. And in comes Steelix to just completely wall off this Altaria and its energy. And the opponent now comes in with a Vigoroth and up a shield. Mandibuzz, as we've seen, is going to be able to handle this Vigoroth very nicely. I liked it. Despite Vigoroth getting a counter through there. Switch timing is really weird when there's one-turn switches and things involved. Now we're going to be able to just... I think you could just 2-shield through this, to be honest. Yep, we 2-shield. They're going to bait with a body slam. Honestly, makes a lot of sense. This is definitely feeling like a body slam to me. But it's up to Drewski. I think he calls it. Yep, knows. Drewski's counting. He knows. He knows. No, they had enough energy for almost 2 body slams. Never mind. Oh, I'm crazy, dude. Calling that is nuts. All right, so they're going to go for Aerial Aces here as the Aerial Ace puts this Vigoroth very, very deep into the red, and the opponent's going to shield up. And then in comes the Altaria. Drewski's quick on his reflexes like a cat. He's quick. Gets the Psychic Fangs off against the Altaria. The opponent's Altaria is not going to be able to do much in this matchup, and they concede. Good game. All right, getting into the next battle. We got Steelix against Steelix. We got... I'm not going to say it. A really dirty joke came to my mind there, and I'm just not going to do it. So the opponent is going to stay in here as well. Drewski's going for the Psychic Fangs. Typically in a Steelix mirror, I see them build up to Earthquake. The opponent knows that this isn't an Earthquake, and they don't need to shield here. Now, it's going to be a matter of does the opponent actually have the Earthquake, and I think we just catch it. They caught the Earthquake on the Mandibuzz. What a gangster, dude. What an amazing catch. I have yet to see a single Steelix in this meta with Earthquake. That's fantastic. And because they're probably also running Psychic Fangs, that means that Mandibuzz walls the energy here otherwise. So now the opponent throwing a bit quick there. I don't think that was an Ice Beam, was it? That just feels like an Aerial Ace to me. No, it's Ice Beam. I should stop trying to count and cast at the same time because clearly I'm not any good at it. Dark Pulse is going to do quite a bit of damage to the Mantine, though, and Drewski's at a point where he can get to this move before the opponent even gets to the Aerial Ace to knock out. So, getting some very nice chip damage and also really nice timing in this matchup here as well. And then in comes Steelix with this move because he knows it doesn't have the Water Pulse. The Aerial Ace is resisted. Ice Beam is neutral. But we're going to be able to see him get a lot of energy on this thing. And the opponent, can they go for another Ice Beam? Do they bother going for another Ice Beam? Do they have the energy? No, it's just an Aerial Ace. That's going to KO. And now we're going to see in comes a Vigoroth here. And this is honestly fine because you have the Water Pulse on the Mantine for the opposing Steelix. And now the defense is dropped. I like going for Crunch here. This is a lot of neutral damage after that debuff. And of course, the opponent shields it. Every time, man. Every time you think you're being slick, it's like, no, trainer, this is certainly another Psychic Fangs. And then it's like, no. All right, so now Steelix has some energy. They probably have Psychic Fangs. Now in comes the Mantine here. The opponent immediately rips off the move that's not Earthquake. They know that their Earthquake is not going to be any good. It's actually Breaking Swipe, and the attack drops. Oh, terrible. But don't need to shield the next Breaking Swipe. Need to definitely save a shield for that Vigoroth. I believe Vigoroth is still in the back. The opponent has so much energy, though, that they're just going to be able to throw Breaking Swipe after Breaking Swipe, and they're just praying for these debuffs. Now, they only got one. Almost getting the max energy here. That's going to do quite a lot of damage, even though it's debuffed. So the Water Pulse trying to undercharge and get a farm here, but now the opponent's Vigoroth is going to come in. I think you have to shield this. And at some point, I think we're going to have to swap out to clear this debuff, and the opponent is going to... I mean, if they're going to... Oh, man, this is tough because the opponent knows they're debuffed, so maybe they don't try to shield. They don't bother shielding. In comes the Mandibuzz to catch the charge move. Now, the big thing here, Can Drewski get to a second aerial ace before the opponent gets to... Oh, so close. It was so close. Unfortunately, Mantine is going to go down here and snap a real nice win streak right at the time here, but that's going to be a good game. Very nicely played games here. I mean, timing is something I harp on about with everybody, but it's one of those things where I harp on it so that hopefully that everybody gets better, because good timing can really create a very large amount of skill that allows you to propel yourself very high in the ELO ladder. So we're going to be able to take a look at this team here. It's a really strong team. I think so anyway. Mandibuzz and Mantine are just goated in this meta, in my opinion. So that's going to do it for me for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.